The untold story of Medusa, victim or villain. Once, in the ancient city of Athena's sacred temple, there was a priestess named Medusa. She was celebrated for her beauty, her long golden hair shimmering like the sun and eyes as deep and blue as the calmest sea. Medusa was a devotee, sworn to chastity and service to the goddess Athena. She was revered, admired, and adored by all who knew her. But as the years passed, a dark force was stirring in the shadows of the temple. Poseidon, god of the seas, whose moods were as fickle as the tides, entered the temple one fateful day. He looked upon Medusa, and his desire for her was immediate. Medusa, though aware of the beauty that had captured many hearts before, had never thought to indulge in such earthly affections, for she had given herself entirely to the goddess. Still, Poseidon's will was overpowering. She tried to resist, but his power was overwhelming, and in the sacred temple, they became entwined. It was a violation, but no one saw it that way. Athena did. Furious at what had occurred within her temple, Athena appeared before Medusa, her eyes burning with divine wrath. The goddess did not pity her. Instead, she blamed her. Medusa was punished, for the gods did not care for the nuances of mortal struggles. Athena transformed Medusa's once beautiful hair into serpents. Her skin began to harden into scales, and her once innocent eyes became a deadly weapon. A single gaze could turn any living being to stone. The world saw Medusa now only for the monster she had become. Her once pristine beauty was now a grotesque reflection of her curse. People feared her, and whispers of her monstrosity spread like wildfire across the land. She retreated into the wilds, far from the world that had known her as a priestess of grace and beauty. For years, Medusa lived alone, in the cold and the dark, hiding from those who would come to seek her out, afraid to look her in the eyes. Her isolation grew, and with it, her bitterness. She was a victim, cursed by the gods and betrayed by her own fate. Yet, she was also a survivor. She had learned that the only way to protect herself was to strike first, to become a fearsome beast no one dared to approach. She learned to be feared, and in her solitude, fear became her companion. Then came Perseus, the hero, strong and courageous, with a sword in hand and a mission to slay the monster who had turned so many to stone. He was sent by the gods, no different than the others who had come before him, seeing only the monstrous Medusa that could be used to prove his own strength and valor. Medusa watched him approach, the reflection of his armor shining in the shadows. He did not know her story, nor did he care to. To him, she was nothing more than a creature to be slain. But Medusa knew that Perseus would not see the woman she had once been. To him, she was a threat, an object of fear to conquer. Her eyes never met his, for to do so would mean her death. Her end would come at the hands of this young hero, the one who thought only of his glory, not her pain. With careful steps, Perseus neared her, the shield he carried lifted high to reflect her deadly gaze. Medusa, with the last of her strength, held her gaze down and waited for the inevitable. But as he drew closer, something unexpected happened. Perseus stopped. His eyes wavered as he took in the sight before him, not the fearsome monster, but a woman broken, a victim of gods who had condemned her to live in isolation for the crime of her own suffering. There was no heroism in killing a woman who had already been punished by fate. But the gods had other plans. Perseus raised his sword. In one swift motion, he struck. And with that, Medusa's life, her pain, came to an end. Her severed head was taken as a trophy, placed upon Perseus's shield to continue spreading fear among the mortal world. Yet, as he gazed upon it, something stirred within him. Medusa was not just a monster. She was a victim. She had become a symbol of suffering, a tragedy. Over time, Medusa's legacy shifted. Her image morphed from one of monstrous fear to one of sorrow and strength. She became a symbol not of villainy, but of the vulnerability that existed even in those who seemed most powerful. And the truth of her story began to surface. Medusa had not chosen to become a monster. She had been shaped by a world that did not care for her pain, and that had cast her aside when it was too much to bear. Medusa's story is one of transformation, not just of her body, but of her role in the stories of the gods. She is neither solely a victim nor a villain. She is a reflection of the complexities of fate and the suffering that comes with being caught between two worlds. And in that, she remains both feared and mourned. A symbol of what it means to be a woman betrayed, punished, and forever misunderstood.